Breaking news, Cody Gakpo is experiencing some back discomfort from carrying the Netherlands during this summer's Euros. Yes, we're trying to lighten the mood after our recent video in which we suggested why we might consider selling him in a perfect summer transfer window. But who are we kidding? The Dutchman responded with a goal and an assist against Romania, carrying his country to the Euros quarterfinals and then to the semis. Gakpo has been one of the standout performers in this tournament, and it wouldn't surprise us if he takes the Golden Boot award home in the end. But why does he look so different on the international stage? Didn't some of the Reds want him gone a few months ago? That's what we're going to answer. From why Gakpo struggled with Liverpool, to how he's setting the Euros on fire with the Netherlands, and how Arne Slot can deploy his fellow countrymen to get the best out of him. But before we do get into it, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily Liverpool deep dives. Surely you remember the 2022 World Cup when Cody Gakpo was the main man for the Netherlands, scoring 3 goals to carry his country through the group stages. When the Dutchman decided to snub Manchester United back then to join Klopp's squad, it felt like the sweetest deal in recent years. Despite scoring 23 goals and providing 9 assists in 79 appearances for the Reds, mainly coming off of the bench, Gakpo was often met with discontent from fans due to his inconsistent performances, but if you think about it, was it really his fault? Before we dive into how the Dutchman was misused by Klopp and his team, we need to highlight another issue that occurred long before that. You see, Liverpool's recruitment system hasn't been at its best in the last few years, particularly since Michael Edwards left in the summer of 2022. The club struggled to plan the squad for the future, resulting in the disastrous 2022-2023 campaign, where the aging midfield caused massive damage to the team, but that's not the whole story. Players' profiling was also poor. Darwin Núñez, who excels at attacking space in behind and drifting to the left-hand side, was brought in to replace Bobby Firmino, one of the best false nines the game has ever seen, known for dropping back and linking up play. Cody Gakpo met the same fate. The 25-year-old had his best performances with PSV Eindhoven and the Netherlands playing on the left wing. For PSV alone, he scored 55 goals and provided 50 assists in 159 appearances. Those are extraordinary numbers, no matter how average people claim the Eredivisie to be. But unfortunately, Gakpo was misprofiled. Instead of being deployed at his best position, left and wide, he was tasked with playing as a number 9 or as a right winger at times, which completely nullified his best attributes. Let's dive deeper into this. Here you can see Cody's heat map in the 2022-2023 season during his 14 appearances for PSV before moving to Anfield. The left winger obviously occupied the left-hand side with a license to cut inside to utilize his elite ball striking ability to combine with his teammates. During those 14 games, Gakpo scored 9 goals and made it into the team of the week on 4 occasions. However, after joining Liverpool, you can see the drastic change in the heat map for the remainder of the campaign. The player was no longer mainly a left winger, instead he was deployed across all positions in the front line. This experiment unfortunately continued in the last season, and perhaps it got even worse. Gakpo continued to occupy central areas more than his preferred left-hand side, but this time his minutes were significantly reduced, averaging only 47 minutes per game. Despite this struggle, he still managed to score 8 Premier League goals, which shows the player has the quality needed to excel in England. Some might argue that players need to adapt and that Gakpo's inconsistent performances are his own fault. But if that were the case, why are the players assigned to positions from a young age? Sure, some players can adapt to new positions as they develop their skill sets, but that can't be true for everyone. Gakpo is a natural left winger who excels in wide areas. Throwing him into different positions during his transition from the Eredivisie to the Premier League can never be a good thing. The Dutchman is one of the most lethal wingers in the world on his day, and his underlying numbers from his PSV days confirm this. These stats on the screen are from the final months with PSV before joining Liverpool, and you can see that his numbers are up there with the very best. When it comes to shooting, Gakpo averaged 3.93 shots per 90 minutes, with 0.56 non-penalty goals per game. His passing and creative numbers were also top-notch, as he averaged 0.58 expected assists and 4.73 key passes per 90 minutes. And when it comes to his ball manipulation and carrying, he was as explosive as ever, averaging more than 2.40 carries into the final third and the penalty area per game. See, Gakpo achieved these extraordinary numbers because he was deployed on the left and wide. This allowed him to drop deep, receive the ball, ball and then make explosive progressive runs into the final third. From there, he could either drive by the byline or cut inside to create opportunities or take a shot. This is why Gakpo is excelling with the Netherlands during the Euros. You can see here how wide he is on the pitch, with either Xavi Simons or Memphis Depay acting as a left-sided number 10 to pull defenders and give Gakpo the needed space on the flanks. This video is sponsored by Clothing. Clothing is a Liverpool clothing site owned by match-going fans. Each design is limited edition and is perfect to wear on a match day, on the terraces at Anfield, down your local, or cozy in the comfort of your own home. As stated, each design is limited edition, and if a product is showing out of stock, they will not be restocking the item, so if you have your eye on something, grab it fast. Lastly, Clothing wants fellow Reds to be 100% satisfied with their orders, so if there is a reason you're not happy, they will refund you with no questions asked. Head over to clothing.com or down into the link in the description to get all of your Liverpool merchandise. Anyway, let's get back into today's video. The goal he scored in the same game perfectly shows what we're talking about. Here you can see Gakpo high on the left hand side with Xavi Simons asking for the ball centrally in between the lines. This pulled Romania's defenders towards Simons, creating more space for Gakpo on the left hand side. This allows Gakpo to start his run, receiving the ball in full pace and driving it forward with power. In that instance, the player made the choice to cut inside, create separation and pop a lethal shot to open the scoring. This is why Gakpo is thriving on the international stage. He is being deployed in his natural position where he can utilize his best attributes of carrying into space and creating shooting opportunities for his teammates and himself. So it has become clear why Gakpo struggled to perform consistently with Liverpool then, hasn't it? By being deployed out of position, Gakpo didn't have the opportunity to use his explosive carrying. Instead, he was tasked with dropping deep from the number 9 position to link up play and hold the ball. Even when he was played on the wing, his teammates didn't create the necessary space for him, which nullified his abilities. The players often found himself isolated on the left hand side with limited to no space to drive into, which is why he often passed the ball back, struggling to take on his markers. Yes, we regret suggesting Gakpo needs to be sold in our recent video, but there's one thing we still believe is true. We said that Gakpo lacks that edge in 1v1 situations, and we're still convinced of this. Gakpo is not a dribbler. He's not a Jeremy Doku or a Mohamed Kudus. Don't get us wrong, he has the ability to take on his markers, but he does so when he is full of pace, making dynamic runs into space instead of being stationary and facing an opponent. So what should Arne Slot do to get the best out of his fellow countrymen? By this time it should be obvious. Gakpo's experiment of being played centrally must be put to bed. Instead, he should be deployed mainly as a left winger, but that's not enough. To give the player the optimal conditions to thrive, Slot needs to use his attacking midfielders the same way Koeman is doing with the Netherlands. Let us show you an example. Let's assume that Slot is going to use his preferred 4-2-3-1 as you can see on the screen. During the build-up, the team would shape up in a 3-2-5 formation, with both Gakpo and Salah holding the width while Szoboszlai and McAllister occupy the left and right half spaces. Here we see the opposition side in blue advancing to man-mark the Reds. In this instance, Dominik Szoboszlai, who's the closest player to Gakpo, needs to drop deep to detach from his marker and try to pull Gakpo's marker with him while the Dutchman stretches the field even more. Here the space is created for Gakpo and the job is left for his teammates to combine and get him the ball before he gets marked again. Of course, it will not be as simple as we showed you, but at least you get the conditions in which Gakpo can thrive. See, a player of Gakpo's qualities doesn't suddenly struggle to perform consistently. His transition from the Eredivisie was hard enough, and being deployed out of position made it even tougher. We can all see his quality when he plays for the Netherlands. He can literally become unstoppable at times, and that's why Arne Slot and his staff needs to provide the player with the right circumstances to thrive. Who knows, maybe the club won't need to address the left winger position with Gakpo still around. So, what do you guys think? Did we make it up for our recent take? Do you think Gakpo may be used primarily as the left winger going forward? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and remember to hit that like and subscribe button for more Liverpool deep dives. Thank you, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Peace.